Cher here, and I'm about to do a really bad thing.
No Game No Life was first released as a light novel series starting on April 25th, 2012, and is currently ongoing. 2 years later, it premiered on TV as a 12-episode anime from April to June 2014. Specials for the show released soon after, and a prequel movie to the series was released in the 2017 summer season.
The anime has a current score of 8.39 on my anime list, and the light novel series has an 8.67. So this series is one of the highly acclaimed in the otaku community overall. I'm not one of those people who would give it that exact score. Actually, the first time I reviewed this, I gave it a 7 out of 10. But now that I'm older, I think I would not keep that word to the best of my ability. Do I have to mention why?
My fellow Americans, I think we all know where this is going.
So yeah, that's my first issue with the show. This show is very aware that some of the characters are underage. No, they don't play either the look underage, but they're really older, or they look older, but they're actually underage routes. And Japan thinks it's okay to show underage girls naked because they're either fictional characters or covered in bath bubbles. The incest is on the lesser side of my things to rant about, because if you got Arimo, a little sister's all you need, and every step-sibling romance anime to exist ever, that argument has already been done to death by a bunch of YouTubers already. However, this is an 18-year-old NEET kissing and sexualizing his 11-year-old stepsister. Leave the girl alone! It's already bad enough that you lewd all of the intelligent women you meet in Discord. You don't have to put your sister in those sexual situations either by even having her command the older girls or girls of her age to perform sexual acts. It's not cute.
So, you mean to tell me that you can kiss your sister and basically treat her like a goddess, but you would never let her watch you have sex with another woman in the same room? I'm afraid that's a entirely different can of worms to open. But speaking of looting intelligent women,
all of the female characters are fantastic, and they are one of the reasons why I want to like this show. The goddess, the elf girl, her best friend, and even the kitsune goddess get me invested in their characters and backstories. Stephanie is my favorite of the bunch because despite her being pulled into a situation that she was practically forced into by circumstance, she does help Sora and Shiro with how to get through this new world they are trapped in. In fact, she is also one of the most helpful when it comes to figuring out how to beat the bad guys. However, she always gets usurped by the two biggest perverts and needs the world will ever know because it's their story and because they can. Yes, they are the most intelligent when it comes to the whole gaming part of the world, but they use that as their excuse to sexually harass and assault all of the women they come across. Not even an 11-year-old can make any invading of privacy cute. Because it's not!
But what about the plot of the story? Well, define plot.
Actually, it was the summary of the story that made me watch this series for the first time. And because I wasn't aware of what ecchi meant. I thought that two siblings going into a world that's based around any type of games and every type of game in existence was really cool. I had never heard of anything like it. But then I had just started the first episode. I see a panty shot. Then afterwards, the English subtitles say, Shiro, 11 years old.
And that was when I realized, we're going down that route, aren't we, anime?
I don't say this often, but for every project, you could tell what the story would be about just by watching the first 5 to 10 minutes or even 20 minutes of that project. For songs, it would be the first 2 lines maybe, but for shows and movies, it's usually 5 to 20 minutes. In those 5 to 20 minutes, I was diving into disaster. It wasn't until episode 2 when I realized that my suspicions were very correct. So much for driving the plot and rather have the show be about trying to rape a girl who asked you for help by knocking on your hotel room door. To be fair, not every single episode is about fan service. In fact, it's mostly getting from point A to point B to point C to point, you get the idea. That doesn't stop the show from having an entire episode dedicated to Stephanie losing to either Sora or Shiro and having her clothes stripped from her, so she has to act like a dog and walk around her family's kingdom naked like a slave. I know this was for the sake of comedy, but what the hell? The girl already suffered enough here! Just leave her alone! And also, to be fair, there are a lot of heartwarming moments as well, especially when it comes to how Sora and Shiro established their sibling relationship in a not so creepy way. Shiro's backstory is actually one of the saddest things I've ever seen, and I do feel bad for her because of it. That doesn't stop me from hating her whenever she goes into her perverted state at the age of 11. Otherwise, the action of the story is how it should be. Sora and Shiro using their genius to take over one player at a time.
And I bet you're thinking, before I go on and rant about something else, that there has to be something else that I do like about this show. Well, besides the fan service aspect of it, I do like the comedy.
As I said, besides anything funny involving fan service, I like how the show basically parodies other famous anime, especially JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because that anime is the closest thing in comedy that No Game No Life is going to get. Or at least it was at the time. Also, every time I watch Stephanie do this, I just lose it.
何と戦ってるんだ多分自分となんだありゃ
Unfortunately, the comedy does not exactly overthrow the ecchi aspect. I mean, I want you to look at this poster right here and tell me that ecchi is not the first thing that comes to mind. So, dare I say, the comedic elements do go over the top.
For a show like this, that is the point, and I cannot destroy the subject altogether. However, the comedy absolutely shows that Sora and Shiro are horrible people, and sometimes the funny proves a huge point. Yes, they are very antisocial, and they did say that they barely went outside. However, if Sora constantly talks about humanity being a better race than anything else in the world, he treats other people of his race like garbage. His shirt is considered to be the most ironic thing on the face of the planet, but this is not done in a positive fashion. These two dingnuts are our heroes, yet they treat their new friends like villain sidekicks. Am I missing something? Sora and Shiro are not Dr. Eggman or Team Rocket in terms of funny. They're 18 and 11 years old who suddenly have power because they're brilliant at all types of games. It's not like they went to college or anything. At the same time, it's super genius because if they treat life like a game of chess, of course they're going to win. And I hate it! I hate how stupidly smart it is!
And then the last point is not exactly about the anime per se, but it's about the creation of the entire series as a whole.
Yu Kimiya is the creator of the original light novel series, and the reason why he chose this route of creating the story instead of creating a manga first was because Kimiya got incredibly sick and he didn't have the time in between treatment and work to fully draw his work. So he decided to write it down and have illustrations. That's absolutely fine. But then a news article comes up saying that Kimiya actually copied other artists' work in order to create his own illustrations for his characters, which fans argue either he was falsely accused of it or it was actually real. According to the latest source, it might still be real, but it was kinda a misunderstanding. But in my book, anyone who basically cheats their way to creating a series is a jerk, and I shall not support that.
And fine, here, I have an I Heart Humanity shirt. I thought I was gonna wear this for a Sora cosplay at some point, but now I'm using it only for pajamas, and that is that.
In general, this series had so much potential for me, but it decided to appeal to the perverts of society instead with a game world skin and not the general otaku public. If you guys like the series, that's fine. This, what I'm saying right now, is just a minority opinion. But I want you to leave this video knowing that this series would never have been finished without the help of slight plagiarism.
I'm Cait, Cher, and it's been real. Ciao!